Welcome back to Great Day. Our next guest comes from a true Hollywood family. He's the son of the late Patty Duke and Sean Astin, but he certainly made his own name in Hollywood, starring in some of the biggest blockbusters in the last 30 years.
But right now they gotta do what's right for them, because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
I'm here to play football for the Irish. Good in this world, Mr. Fertile. And it's worth fighting for.
Actor Sean Astin is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. You know, I look at your face, I look at that smile, and I interviewed your mom several years ago on Great Day, and I see her right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I love that you did that. That's beautiful.
Well, you know, all times kids will never follow into the footsteps of their parents, but it seems like for you, you couldn't help it.
I think of it as like one of those wind-up toys.
Yeah.
And I think she just wound me up when I was 8 years old, and she had me in this after-school special, and she just kind of set me forward. So I've just been kind of going along doing what she, you know, I mean, it's a great job. You get to travel around the world, and you know, you communicate an emotion, you know, and other people receive that, and it's just a great way to live, actually.
Yeah.
When you're working. When you're not working, it's hard. But
do you ever feel like, even though it can be hard work, do you ever feel like you're working, or are you just doing what you love?
No, it's you know, you're a professional. There's work, there's hours. You know, it's actually a lot more cumbersome than people realize a lot of times. Yeah. But you can't, you know, when you talk about make-believe. And when you're doing make-believe for a living, it's kind of hard to sort of, you know, to think of it as work. But also, what acting training teaches you try and find the truth in what you're doing, and that's work. You wanna work to try and be as authentic and honest and real as possible. So, you know, I don't know if it's not, we're not growing wheat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's work.
You know, when you say it's make-believe, even so, to your point, you played roles that aren't make-believe at all, and it literally touches home for a lot of people. In fact, at the age of 10, you're in the 1981 TV movie, Please Don't Hit Me, Mom.
Yeah. Can you imagine the titles back then?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to guess what that was about. Please don't
my
hit
mother,
me, Mom.
you know, my mother, who was at that moment undiagnosed with her mental health condition, was offered to play this abusive mother. And she said, well, okay, I'll do it, but if my son can play the abused son. And so she asked me, you know, do you want to do it? And I said, well, do I get paid money? And they said, yes, you get paid money. And I said, do I get to get out of school? And she said, well, you have to do school on the set. And it was only 2 weeks, but there we were on the set, and the character, she's beating me up. Yeah. And it was this weird situation where it was actually, because it was a movie and everyone was talking about it and there was context to it, it almost made it okay. Not okay, it made it a little bit more understandable.
Right,
and it was clear that we knew it was wrong. The whole point of those after-school specials was like, oh, this is a behavior that needs to
get
be...
help if you
yeah,
can.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was, I look at it now, you know, 40 years later, as her way of saying that she was sorry. You know, it was her way of saying, I know that this isn't the right way to be, and I want to go out in public and talk about how it's not the right way to be.
Which is what your mom did when she was on the show. She talked about, you know, dealing with bipolar disorder, which so many millions of Americans deal with, and it's hard to understand. I've been in the midst of it as well, and so we're talking a little bit more about that later and why you're in town. But you know, so that kind of passed, and then movies can be escape for so many people, and things like Goonies was definitely escape for so many people.
I can't believe how Goonies still lives in the hearts of people everywhere I go. I mean, it was 1985, and people talked to me about how, you know, they showed it to their kids and their grandkids, and that adventure, that spirit of fun and play, and you know, searching for pirate treasure, and you know,
My son's 14. I had to laugh when he said, "Mom, have you seen the movie Goonies?" It's like, okay, you're late to the party, honey, right? So, but
you're raising him well. I mean, you know, you're bringing him up right if he knows Goonies.
Which was cool about that for an actor is that this stuff is around forever, and it's you know, different slices of life, and it becomes a part of our life. This next one, I to this day, it's like one of the movies that just made me cry, and everybody do it with me, Rudy, Rudy, Rudy. I loved that movie.
That movie has a lot of heart.
Yeah.
And that spoke to a lot of people. I'm glad that you felt that way. Everybody's Rudy. You know, you and I were talking about your journey, for your educational journey, and what you did. Like, in a sense, Rudy represents that thing that's within us that says, like, I'm not going to let other people define me. I'm going to fight to decide who I am for myself and to achieve what I want to achieve and have dreams and goals. And
passion's greater than anything, right?
Yeah.
And if you believe in it, that's all that it's needed sometimes.
And you can set your own goals. You know, Rudy, the goal is ultimately I want to be the worst guy on the team, but he's on the team. He wanted to be on the team, and that was his. That's what, you know, in America, you know, you think of Patton. I remember George C. Scott playing Patton, and he in the beginning of that movie, he says, America loves a winner.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a president who's all about winning. And it's like, yeah, winning is important, but, you know, not everybody can win a championship. So does that mean that everybody who doesn't win the championship is devalued somehow?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we all have the ability to quest for what we want to achieve. And we, as Americans, we also know that every single human being is important and everybody has value. And all we really want and expect of people is that you try. You do your absolute best.
Amen. You're preaching to the choir over here.
Right, sorry. I got worked up. Is it all right?
No, I love
We're still in Houston, right?
No,
okay.
I spent a couple of weeks on the streets to see how homeless people really live, and I lived like them for a couple of weeks. And it was the craziest thing because the people that we go by every day and don't even pay attention to can solve every problem there is. They got it. They know what's going on. But you just, by the way, just reinvigorated me that I have this hope that Destiny's Child will get back together and they'll add me to the group at some point in life.
We can make signs. We'll make signs.
Keep hope alive on that one. All right.
Destiny's Child.
So what's it like when you get the call, and it's like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, for example, and you get the call, hey, we have a part for you, or is it a part?
No, there was a call. That one had a call, and I remember vividly. I had this little office, and I actually had an assistant at that moment, and I just finished college, and I didn't know. It was the first time in my life where I didn't know where I was going to fit in the grand scheme of the. Of cinema history is the way I thought of it, or the entertainment industry.
And your parents' reputations kind of loom over you
and I had never felt that before, but at that moment I did. And I remember when the call came through, there were 2 agents on the line. And if they call to give you bad news, only one agent draws the shoulders up. So when there's 2 agents, you know it's going to be good news. And I remember, I don't even remember if they said you got it or they just started screaming. And I remember I hit my knee. I went down and I put the phone down and I just thanked God.
Aww.
I thank God. It was like, because I knew what that movie means, that book, that story means
trilogy.
to people. Trilogy. You knew it was important. It was trilogy.
It was extras,
No, but I just knew that I was being given this gift to represent a character, to be a character who is, you know, Samwise Gamgee. For those of you who don't know Lord of the Rings, he is just the best friend you could ever have, and he cares, and he's there with you through thick and thin, and everybody deserves to have a Samwise. And the idea that I was going to get to play that character, I was just grateful to God for that, and that was that moment. And so I just literally went down on one knee and was like saying thank you.
What's interesting about that when you say that you got a chance to play that character, and you describe that character, and it sounds like it's also you. You're that kind of person.
Well, Sam is an ideal literary character, so he is by definition way better than I could ever be. But, you know, my Sam is my wife, Christine. You know, I've been married 27 years, and we have 3 daughters, and she is just quiet, sturdy, you know, just always, she's a rock. She's a pillar, and everybody who knows her knows it. And so I go out in the world, and I talk, and I give speeches, and I do all this. But if it wasn't for her stability and her decency, I don't know what I'd be. I really don't.
All right, Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, yeah, there you go. Another cultural moment. It's incredible. That show is so good. It's so good, and I got to be a part of it. Yes, I got. For those of you, spoiler alert. I got to play. Well, the funny thing is, I got to play Bob Newby, aka Bob Newby superhero, aka Bob the Brain. They gave him a lot of catchphrases for Bob, but again, just like a decent guy, just a sweet guy who loves Winona Ryder's character, loves Joyce Byers, and he sort of is this stepfather figure.
Yeah.
And they don't spend too much time with Bob, but what they do spend with him, you just think, man, everybody should be able to have somebody who cares about you like that.
But that's what, and I was talking to earlier, because you have things that you care about. You obviously love running, which is a cool thing.
I do love running.
You know, but you
doesn't look like it at the moment, but I swear I'm a runner. I am marathons and half marathons.
You're Iron Man, right?
I did Ironman.
Did you?
I did Ironman Kona 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, 15 hours and 30 minutes.
Do you have the tattoo though?
Of the Ironman?
Yeah.
No, I'll probably get it when I do New Zealand next year.
Wow.
But I have a tattoo from Lord of the Rings, but not from Ironman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the commercial break, I'm gonna have to see some of that.
Okay.
Okay, and then Run Third Alliance, but you have things that are very important to you.
Run Third Alliance, you would really appreciate. This is a charity that I came up with that Mindy Frazier really runs. She's a PE teacher in Mesa, Arizona, and it's after-school running programs for elementary school kids. So a lot of kids can't do after-school sports because it's too expensive. Travel is too hard. Their parents can't work with it, but everybody can put on a pair of shoes. Most kids, almost all kids, can put on a pair of shoes. So it's a structured activity. The specific goal at the end of their season is to run a 5K. So you have these 5th and 6th graders who run a 5K. A lot of adults have never run a 5K. So and the other little component of it is they invite people to make to dedications.
Yeah.
So I could say, like, what do you want me to run for? And you could say Run Third, and it's Run Third is the name of the thing. You say Run Third for those homeless people that you spent time with. So what these kids do is they'll write the names of the people who they're, running dedicating their run to, and they'll put it on their back, a sign on their back. And when they cross the finish line, they're not just running for themselves, they're running on behalf of other people. So it's about self-empowerment, it's about community, it's about family.
Which
it's
is
just
why you love literacy, but also civic engagement, and of course mental health. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to circle back around to why your mom was on the show. Yeah, bring it home. Your mom was on the show because she was saying you can't be ashamed of this anymore. We have to lift the veil. We have to talk about it. We're talking about mental illness, in particular bipolar disorder. We'll be right back.